Hello, my name is Frederica McClary. I am a Deputy Director in our Nurses and Health Professionals Division. I have been in this specific position since November of 2016, but have been organizing for the past 10 years, actually since January 4th of 2007. And so I was asked to describe a campaign and to go into some of the strategies and tactics that were used to engage membership. And so the campaign that I want to go over is the voluntary administratorship of the Detroit Federation of Teachers that took place about a year ago, and that was the last major campaign that I was on and coordinated prior to coming into this new position. And so again, this campaign was in Detroit, Michigan, with our K-12 local. And so this is teachers, there were counselors, speech pathologists, positions of that sort. And the goal of the campaign was really to bring unity to a local that had been divided, and also to stop a state takeover, basically stopping the district from becoming New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, where teachers were fired, all staff were fired, and those who came back had to reapply and take tests and things of that nature for their positions that they had been evaluated in for years, and had worked in and received satisfactory and or excellent ratings. And so challenges. Okay, so this campaign did not lack challenges. It was pretty much a perfect storm. And so we know that for years, urban areas have been hit through funding, the lack of funding, pulling of funding that have, affected things like, staff ratios, staff to student ratios, resources that are needed for the classrooms, lack of supplies, pay cuts, whether it was, whether it being through givebacks or through increased costs with health insurance and things of that nature. And along with all of those things, there were also more demands being put on educators. And so, this was, things like your lesson plans and, teaching to the test and, things of that nature. So it was pretty much a perfect storm. And there were a ton of things going on. There was pressure from the state level. There was pressure, locally. There was turmoil internally. And so it was pretty much a perfect storm. So getting to the strategies and tactics that were used in order to address this, really one of the first things that we focused on was an increase in communication, two-way communication. So not just leaders talking to members, but really trying to have conversations, open dialogue with members in terms of how they perceive things, because a lot of times, we have the right intentions. Our leaders have the right intentions. This is thankless work. You get into your position because you really want to do better. You want to make change, and so your intentions are good. However, they may not be perceived as such. And so we really wanted to make sure that we had open communication to figure out what was going on and how people felt about it. We revamped the structure, internal structure, and this was all the way from, leadership from the executive board into work sites. And so we wanted to make sure that we had work site teams, as opposed to just the traditional building rep and maybe assistant building rep. We wanted to make sure that there were think about it as like an organizing campaign where you want a 1-to-10 ratio. And so we wanted to have, depending on the size of the work site, we wanted to have a team that, kind of geographically spanned the floors or spanned the layout of the building to make sure that, that there was coverage, and also to have the executive board more involved in those conversations and interacting to build relationships. We also set up committees And these committees were based on things that members were already interested in. You know, a lot of our members are already a part of other organizations and they do work with and for those organizations, but outside of, you know, our locals. And so we wanted to tap into what they already cared about, what they were already doing, and how could we, also share in those concerns and have those relationships benefit both the local and the community organizations. And I would say the kind of last thing that we did was to make sure that we strengthened and that we created bonds with the community. And these are not bonds that were just based on, hey, we need you to do this, so please come to this rally or please turn out for this event. We really, hard conversations of sitting down, acknowledging some of the ways in which both, or just us, in that case, have gone wrong in terms of building relationships, building trust, and developing the rapport that is necessary for these fights. And so basically putting the work in, had to definitely put the work in on that, and slowly but surely, come out to support them as they came out to support us. And so that was definitely key. I think the pivotal moment in any campaign when you can figure this out is how to make sure that your members are seen as definitely the solution, but a part of the bigger picture. And so what we did in this campaign was to make sure that the fight for quality, high quality public education was seen as a fight for the city. This was not just about DFT. This was not just about the unions. This was seen, we wanted to make sure that it was seen as a fight for the community. And as this community is growing and as it's transitioning and things of that nature, wanting to make sure that this was not a piece that was left out. The education has to be up there with the rebuilding of the city that I actually love. I love Detroit. I think it's amazing. And so is there anything else I want to say about mobilization? So, I mean, the thing I would say is that this is not an overnight quick fix kind of situation. Anytime you are talking about really engaging your members, anytime you're talking about really digging in and changing a culture, right? Changing a culture from servicing to organizing. It takes time, it takes work. There are going to be, situations where you feel like you're going 2 steps forward and 5 steps back, but you have to dig in and you have to, kind of be clear on the front end of what's important and what you're really trying to do. And don't lose sight of that and keep plugging along. But the more that you are sincere and consistent with your efforts, the more that I believe your members will take to it and will appreciate it and come on board. So thank you.